Way back in the day, my middle school actually used to be the high school, and the school district, quite reasonably, decided to build a track, a football field, and a soccer field right next to the high school so kids had easy access to the facilities. However, eventually the student body got a little bit too large for the high school, and a new high school was built. The old high school was then turned into a middle school. And don't get me wrong, this was great, but the one issue with this change was that no new track, football field, or soccer field was built next to the new high school. And this wasn't an issue back in middle school when I joined cross country and kids had easy access to the track. However, this did become an issue when I moved into high school. The middle school track was close enough to the point where driving there was easy, but far enough away that walking or running there was not an option. This left us freshman runners with two options. You could either tag along with the sibling who was driving to the track, or you could take the bus. Unfortunately, I didn't have a sibling, so my only other option was to take the bus. It didn't go very well. After that harrowing bus experience, I was looking for any other option possible to get to the track. Fortunately, my friend, let's call him James, had a brother named Pedro in cross country who could drive, and James offered me a ride in his brother's car. But one thing James neglected to inform me about was who else he had invited along for the ride. He had invited another of his friends, who I'll call BB. At that time, BB and I hated each other. This was due to a variety of reasons, which could honestly be their own video. I'm not 100% sure why James thought putting us together in the same car was a good idea, and it made the car rides a little uncomfortable. But Pedro, on the other hand, really brightened up the rides. While he may have had a rather unique taste in music, he was genuinely a great guy. His driving style included some pretty sharp turns and a bit too much enthusiasm on the accelerator, but it actually added to the fun of the ride. At some point, I got sick and missed a few days of school. And one of these days, when I was gone, it turned out that James invited a bunch of his other friends to ride in Pedro's car with him. And I wasn't there to witness it myself, but apparently Pedro got pulled over. And when the cop looked into the back seat, there was 8 kids stuffed into the back like sardines in a can. I'm genuinely surprised Pedro only got off with a warning to have 3 kids in the back seat at a time. But after this incident, a rotating schedule had to be formed to manage all the kids who wanted to ride in Pedro's car, and one of these days I was off the schedule and waiting for the bus to come with some of my friends. After sitting at the bus stop for about half an hour, we collectively realized that the bus was probably not showing up. Eventually, a kid I'll call Phil decided to call his mom and get her to give us a ride. "Hey Mom, can you drive me and a couple of my friends to the track?" "Sure, how many is a couple?" "A few." I really don't think she expected to give 7 kids a ride to the track, but to her credit, she looked completely unfazed when she arrived. She told us, however, that 6 kids couldn't all fit into the car. Phil could sit with her in the front seat, but one of us, she said, would have to ride in the trunk. Now, one of the most intrinsic questions in the mind of a freshman boy is always, what is it like to ride in the trunk of a car? So the only reason why Carson got to ride in the trunk was because he was the first one to volunteer. So the rest of us crammed into the backseat and we moseyed our way to the track. I really don't think the average Toyota is built to hold 8 people, and the car was really struggling. About halfway to the track, we get a FaceTime from James. "Where are you guys?" "We're in Phil's mom's car. The bus never came." "Where's Carson?" "I'm in the trunk." "How is it?" "Really hot. The plush carpet is nice though." "We don't have a plush carpet." "Never mind. It's dog hair." Honestly, looking back on it, cross country itself wasn't really the reason I found it interesting. I mean, running around for miles in the heat doesn't really inspire much in the way of fun. However, what really made cross country shine was the road trips to the track. As the saying goes, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.